guy like that because you have some promising young corners. You're going to have to find a slot corner, but you have some promising ones that you're banking on. Also, when it comes to the draft, Cincinnati has to hit on the draft picks. I think it's that simple for me when it comes to their defense. And you look at the last few years, they've drafted last year in the second round and third round, Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson. 2023, they drafted Miles Murphy. Now, since 2018, they've only had one person with 10-plus sacks that they drafted, and that's Sam Hubbard. He just retired. Now, it's still mind-boggling to me. I'm trying to wrap my mind around what Cincinnati is doing, but I think that's what they're trying to do. Go younger, got a new defensive coordinator, and build things out that way.
S.A.?
The answer to the question, fellas, is that you're damn right. Joe Burrow should want out of Cincinnati for one simple reason. Who's the owner? Who's the owner? When has a positive thing ever been said about how this man conducts runs his franchise? Do y'all know that the Cincinnati Bengals don't have a GM? They don't have one. Some dude, Duke Tobin, player personnel director, you know, whose father, all right, I mean, he was named the director of player personnel in 1999 for the Bengals. His father, Bill Tobin, and Uncle Vince Tobin also worked in the NFL. So, you know, nepotism at its finest. But the point is that, and I'm not knocking Tobin. I mean, I'm quite sure I'm certainly not casting aspersions on him. Please don't get me wrong. Or his family. I'm talking about Mike Brown. I'm talking about the ownership with the Cincinnati Bengals. They will cut corners any chance they get. If you are a superstar caliber talent in any profession, the first thing you run away from is leadership that cuts corners. Am I lying, y'all? Yeah. Tell me I'm lying. Y'all know if you got leadership that cut corners at every turn, you get the hell away from them. And it's not an accident that we've seen Joe Burrow making this kind of noise. He's been very outspoken. He didn't have to come on First Take and say what he said during Super Bowl week. He didn't have to do any interviews Super Bowl week. What the hell was he there for? What you doing there for? How come you ain't home chilling out? I know you was supposed to be there promoting something. You know what he was promoting? How he might want his ass out of Cincinnati in the event that they don't get this ship right. That's what he was promoting, okay? So, yeah, you got to take care of Jamar Chase. But what else do you need it to do? You got to make a decision between T. Higgins and Hendrickson. Why? Because Higgins, you got to remember, this is the second consecutive year they're franchise tagging him, right? Now, over the years, I think 6 of the last 7 who've been franchise tagged on consecutive years have ended up signing long-term deals, so that's a plus for him. His number would be at about $26.2 million in the event they can't reach a deal by July 15th. But the real point of the matter is you feel compelled to take care of him because you've been hearing Burrow running his mouth. And by Burrow running his mouth, what you're saying as a Cincinnati Bengals organization, you're being slick. You're saying, let's make sure this brother has his requisite weapons so he can produce. We can get away with that if our defense sucks. You understand? All right, but we got a high-powered offense, and Joe Burrow's leading the way. Folks going to come through the turnstiles, and they're going to watch this team, and they're going to think we have a chance. That's how that man is thinking. Joe Burrow knows it. He senses it, and he's like this, man, I might be ready to get the hell up out of here. And if he did, I'll leave the last point to both of y'all. If that man came out and said that he wanted out, tell me I'm lying when I say this. The only thing that will raise our eyebrows is that he will be leaving Jamar Chase. That's it. There is nothing else that we will fault him for about wanting to leave Cincinnati. Because that organization ain't nothing to brag home about. And by the way, there still needs to be an investigation for Zach Taylor and what the hell he's doing in the offseason since they can't seem to win games in September. They're never ready to go in the month of September. Never. What the hell is he doing in the offseason that they're never ready at the start of the season? Something wrong. Something wrong. I'm trying to tell y'all right now. You got to find out what this man is doing in the offseason. Follow him around. Hire a private investigator. Do something to find out what the hell Zach Taylor is doing that his team is never ready to play in September.
So, Steve, I would say this about Joe Burrow. You also have to consider the simple fact that this is a guy that is from Ohio, right? And he's playing in his hometown state. I'm a byproduct. I grew up on the south side of Atlanta. I never wanted to leave Atlanta. I don't think it's going to get to a point to where Joe Burrow is asking out of Cincinnati, especially if he has a Jamar Chase. Being a guy that got paid.
I don't think we had him on set at the Super Bowl. That guy has ice water in his veins. He does not play. Like he wants us to. If they don't have
Molly's
the right pieces around him, like Joe Poole is not the one. I'm telling you, like he has that mindset, like some other cats don't.
But I want to see what they're going to do with this cap space that they have.
But based on history, right? And I'm not someone who likes to live in the past, but they haven't delivered.
And to your point, Molly, he was out there and the confetti fell and it wasn't the color of his uniform.
Yeah.
Like, there's no bigger motivator than that, being at the Super Bowl and walking into that locker room and knowing you fell short. You're trying to get back there.
Yeah, I get the hometown piece, but we've seen it happen before in other sports as well.
I know we got to go. Harry, just this last point. I would agree with you if the problem was the GM or the coach or something like that, because you could just get rid of them.
Can't go above
His problem is he can't get rid of the owner.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's enough to make you want to leave home.
S.A., I want to go out on a high note. He's probably in Paris, so he's probably not even watching right now. But let's give Wendy some love one more time. Do we have that video?
Oh, Lord.
Here we go.
Look at my boy. Look at my boy Wendy,
he
man.
He did have a little knee bend, too. Look at that. That's technique right there.
Bad. Shout out to Wendy.
There we go. I love it.
To me, it's Greeny. Greeny lifting up the leg. Greeny lifting up the leg. Give him the stinky leg.
That's always been a staple for Greeny.
That's where
one leg up,
stinky leg. Exactly.
arms to the back.
Wow, he's on one leg. Okay.
Harry inspiring everybody.
Harry,
boys got to get the hips in it, though. You got to get the hips.
It's all about the hips.
And let's not take our eyes off of Woody now. Let's not take our eyes off of Woody now.
I didn't see Woody.
So this is one of Woody's favorite things. Woody's.
A big question looms over the future of the Minnesota Vikings, and the major issue is, who will be the team's starting quarterback in 2025? Will it be Sam Darnold, who had an impressive season but with an unstable finish, or J.J. McCarthy, the promising young quarterback chosen in the first round? Let's explore the speculations and decisions that could impact the Minnesota team in the coming months. Before diving into the choice between Darnold and McCarthy, it's important to understand Sam Darnold's current situation. The quarterback had a standout performance last season, but the lack of interest from other teams in the market has raised some eyebrows. Even after a solid season, Darnold was not tagged by the Vikings, which raises questions about his future in Minnesota. The big question is, will the Vikings re-sign Darnold, or will he go to another team in search of a more lucrative contract? Despite his on-field success, it seems the market is colder than expected, and the decision not to use the franchise tag could indicate that the Vikings don't see him as a long-term solution. What's going on with Darnold? Does he really have a future in Minnesota? Or are the Vikings, by not using the tag, signaling that the quarterback will not be the team's key piece in the coming years? This has sparked a lot of speculation, and many are wondering if Darnold will find a new home or continue with the Vikings for a bit longer. The situation is full of uncertainties, and it's impacting both the fans and the franchise's planning for the future. And then, we have J.J. McCarthy, the young quarterback who was brought in to be the future star of the team. Selected in the first round of the draft, McCarthy is seen as a huge promise for the Vikings. His style of play and skills have been impressive, and the franchise seems to be betting on him as the future leader of the team. But the big question is he ready to take on the responsibility of being the starter in 2025? If the Vikings decide to invest in McCarthy as the starter, they would be betting on the long term, as he is younger and could develop over the years. Additionally, this choice could mean savings in terms of contract, as McCarthy would likely require a more modest deal compared to what Darnold might seek on the market. However, this also brings implications for Darnold's future in Minnesota. If the franchise goes with McCarthy, it could leave Darnold in an uncomfortable position, possibly forcing him to seek a new opportunity with another team. The decision of who will be the starting quarterback could truly shape the future of the Vikings. If McCarthy is chosen, he could become the face of the franchise for many years, but this could generate frustration among fans if Darnold decides to move on in search of a new contract. On the other hand, keeping Darnold could ensure more immediate performance, but he may not be the long-term answer. This decision goes beyond the choices on the field and will affect the team's finances and dynamics, as well as fan expectations. So, what do you think about this situation? Does Sam Darnold deserve another chance to lead the Vikings, or should the franchise invest in J.J. McCarthy, betting on the future? Leave your opinion in the comments and join the discussion. Your insight is important for understanding what fans really expect for the upcoming season. Stay tuned to our channel for more information on the situation of Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, and the Minnesota Vikings. Don't miss the updates and continue following our coverage to stay on top of everything happening with the team.